Welcome back to the podcast. Today we're speaking about the Dube, Mbizi, or Tembo Totem, the Zebra Totem. In Ndebele, it is often known as Dube. In Shona, it may be known as Mbizi or Tembo. In some branches, it is connected with names such as Dube, Samaita, Majimbagupa, Magaduzela, and Manjenjenj. This is a totem of beauty, not beauty in a shallow way. It is beauty with meaning, beauty with memory, beauty with discipline, beauty with a path. Because the zebra is not just admired for how it looks. The zebra teaches us about difference, harmony, family, dignity, and knowing who you are. There is a saying, "Mbizi haiviringitswe." The zebra is not confused. It knows its path. And today we begin with a story, as always. There was a young woman named Nogutula Dube. She lived in Bulawayo. She was modern, educated, confident in many ways, but there was one thing that made her nervous. Her younger sister was getting married, and at the traditional marriage ceremony, Nogutula had been asked to speak on behalf of the young women in the family. Her aunt had written the praise names on a piece of paper. Dube, Oi Dube, Magaduzela, Ganda, Maduve. Nogutula read the words again and again, but they felt strange in her mouth. They felt like words that belonged to old people, words for grandmothers, words for ceremonies, words that carried weight she did not yet understand. She looked at her grandmother and said, "What if I say them wrong?" Her grandmother, Gogo Madube, smiled gently. "Then you will say them again." Nogutula frowned. "People will laugh." Gogo Madube looked at her and said, "Let them laugh. A calf does not learn the path by standing still." Noctula looked back at the paper. Then she asked the question that opened everything. "Gogo, what does Dube really mean?" The old woman became quiet, not angry, not disappointed, just quiet, in the way elders become when they realize that a door is finally opened. Then she said, "Dube is the zebra. In Shona, others may say Mbizi or Tembo. In some places, Dube. But all these names carry the same lesson." Nogutula asked, "Beauty?" Gogo smiled. "Yes, beauty. But if you think the zebra is only beautiful, you've not looked at it properly." The next morning, Gogo Madube took out an old black and white cloth. It had belonged to Noctula's great-grandmother. The cloth looked like zebra stripes. Gogo unfolded it slowly and placed it across her knees. "Look at this," she said. Noctula touched the cloth. "It looks like zebra stripes." Gogo nodded. "Exactly. Now tell me, are the stripes black on white or white on black?" Noctula laughed. "I don't know. Both, I suppose." Gogo smiled. That is the first lesson of Dube. Life is not one color. A family is not one opinion. A community is not one voice. The zebra carries difference without breaking apart. Noctula stopped laughing. The words stayed with her. The zebra carries difference without breaking apart. Gogo continued. That is why Dube people are expected to be diplomatic, sociable, peace-loving, able to sit between people and cool the fire before it burns the whole village. Noctula asked, "So we are peacemakers?" Gogo answered, "When we remember who we are." But that week, the family was not peaceful. There was tension in the house. Nogtula's uncle, Mandla Dube, wanted the ceremony to be modern, short, and simple. He said there was no need for long speeches, no need for too many praise names, no need to make young people uncomfortable with traditions they did not understand. Their aunt disagreed. She said, a child does not leave home like a parcel. She must be sent with words. Uncle Mandla replied, words do not pay bills. The room became quiet, and the aunt said, and money does not replace roots. The argument grew. Some relatives agreed with the uncle, others supported the aunt. Nokuthula sat silently, watching the family divide into tribes of its own, old and young, traditional and modern, practical and emotional, English and Ndebele, ceremony and convenience. Gogo leaned toward her and whispered, you see, the zebra has entered the dust. Nokuthula whispered back, what does that mean? Gogo said, it means this is where you learn whether your stripes are only for decoration. And Nokuthula understood. The totem was not just something to recite. It was something to practice. Later that afternoon, Nokuthula went with her cousin to the market to buy food for the ceremony. One vendor recognized the family and laughed. Dube people, he said. Today I have meat with stripes. Maybe it is for you? People nearby laughed. Nokuthula laughed too. But Gogoma Dube, who had followed quiet, did not laugh. On the walk home, she spoke firmly. Never laugh too easily at a taboo. Nokuthula said, it was a joke. Gogo replied, many things begin as jokes before they become forgetting. Then she explained, for people of the Dube Mbizi or Tembo Totem, the zebra is not ordinary. It carries the name of the clan. Traditionally, members of this totem are forbidden from eating zebra meat. In some branches, there is also a caution around eating meat with stripes or markings that resemble the zebra. Nabutula asked, but why? Gogo answered, because a taboo teaches restraint. It teaches you that not everything can be eaten. Not everything beautiful can be owned. Not everything living is just food. The zebra carries our name, so we do not treat it like any other animal. Nabutula walked in silence. For the first time, the taboo did not sound like fear. It sounded like discipline. It sounded like respect. It sounded like identity becoming behavior. On the day of the ceremony, the house was full. Women were singing. Men were greeting each other outside. Children were running between chairs. The bride sat quietly, nervous and beautiful. Nobtula stood with a folded paper in her hand. Her fingers were shaking. She saw her uncle Mantla watching. She saw her aunt watching. She saw Gogo Madube sitting near the front. Then she remembered the cloth, black and white, difference and harmony. One animal, many stripes. She took a breath, then she began. Today, we speak as children of Dube, children of Mbizi, children of Tembo, the zebra whose stripes were painted by the Creator. The room became quiet. She continued. We greet you as Samaita, as Magaduzela, as Majimbakupa, as Manjenjenje, as Ganda, as Madure, the woman of beauty and dignity. Her voice grew stronger. Our elders say, Mbizi aiviringitswe. The zebra is not confused. It knows its path. So today, as our sister begins a new path, we do not send her away empty. We send her with memory, with beauty, with restraint, with the wisdom to bring peace where there is conflict. Her uncle looked down. Her aunt wiped their eyes. Gogo Madube smiled, not because Noktula had said everything perfectly, but because she had understood. That evening, after the ceremony, Noktula tried to give the folded paper back to her grandmother. Gogo shook her head. Keep it. Noktula said, I still need to learn more. Gogo smiled. Good. A person who says, I know everything, has already lost the path. So Noktula kept the paper. And the next week, she began recording her grandmother's stories, not because she had become old-fashioned, but because she had realized something important. A name can survive on paper and still die in the mouth. A surname can remain while the meaning disappears. So she began with one line. Dube, Mbizi, Tembo, the zebra that walks through difference without losing its way. Now let us go deeper into the Dube, Mbizi and Tembo Totem. The Zebra Totem is shared across different communities in Zimbabwe and Southern Africa. Among the Bele communities, the name Dube is very common. It comes from the Nguni word Idube, meaning zebra. Among the Shona communities, the zebra may be known as Mbizi or Tembo. In some contexts, we also hear forms such as Dube. Across these names, the meaning remains connected to the zebra, a creature of beauty, a creature of movement, a creature of social life, a creature whose tribes make it impossible to confuse with anything else. The zebra's identity is visible. It does not hide its pattern. And that is one of the first lessons of this totem. Know who you are. Carry your identity with grace. Do not be ashamed of your pattern. The Dube Mbizi and Tembo Totem has many praise names and related identifiers. These include Samaita, Dube, Madube, Dube, Oyidube, Magaduzela, Ganda, Mutasa, Tembo Shumba, Majimbakupa, Wakapiwa, Manjenjenje, Mageza, Nemkaka. Other names connected in different regions include Tembo, Mbiasi, Fuzijena, Blasi, and Lushozi. These names may vary depending on family, language, region, and oral tradition. That is important. Totems are not always simple lists. They are living histories. A name may be a praise name in one place, a branch in another, a synonym somewhere else, or a clue to migration, marriage, leadership, or settlement. So when someone says, I am Dube, an elder may ask, which Dube, which branch, which praise name, which people? This is not just curiosity. It is how families remember where they come from. The zebra is often praised for beauty, but in this totem, beauty is not only about appearance. It is about balance. It is about refinement. It is about grace under pressure. The zebra stripes are striking because they hold contrast together. Black and white, light and shadow, difference in unity. No two zebras have exactly the same pattern, and yet when they move together, they become a herd. That is a powerful lesson. A family does not have to be identical to be united. A community does not need one opinion to remain whole. A person can carry more than one word inside them. You can be modern and traditional, urban and rural, young and ancestral, individual and communal. Zebra does not erase contrast. It turns contrast into pattern. That is the deep symbolism of Dube, Mbizi, and Tembo. The zebra is also a social animal. It lives in herds. It survives through awareness, movement, togetherness. Because of this, some of the Dube people on Mbizi Totem are often described symbolically as sociable, creative, charismatic, and diplomatic. They are sometimes seen as peace-loving people, people who can bring others together, people who can speak well, people who can soften conflict, people who can decorate the community, not only with art, but with harmony. But this does not mean every person with this totem automatically has these traits. A totem is not a personality test. It is a cultural expectation. It says, this is the kind of dignity your name calls you toward. This is the behavior your lineage praises. This is what your people hope you will become. So for Dube people, strength is not always through force. Sometimes strength is shown through grace, through speech, through patience, through knowing how to stand between two angry sides and help them remember they are still family. The taboo of this totem is very important. Traditionally, people of the Dube Mbizi or Tembo Totem do not eat zebra meat. In some branches, people may also avoid meat that has stripes or markings that resemble the zebra. That is not a small detail. The taboo makes the totem real. Without taboo, a totem can become just a name. But taboo turns identity into discipline. It teaches that the zebra is not just another animal to this clan. It carries the clan's name. It is created as a sacred relative. The deeper lesson is restraint. Not everything that can be eaten should be eaten. Not everything that can be taken should be taken. Not everything beautiful should be owned. The taboo teaches respect. It also shows how traditional culture should protect animals through identity. If a clan refuses to kill or eat its totem animal, that animal gains cultural protection. This is why totems are not only about the past, they also speak to conservation environment, and how humans relate to nature. But we must also be realistic. People live complicated lives. Some people know the taboo and follow it strictly. Some know it but treat it symbolically. Some do not know it at all. Some grew up far from elders. Some grew up in cities. Some families lost parts of their praise poetry through migration, religion, colonial disruption, or simple silence between generations. So the purpose of talking about taboo is not to shame anyone. The purpose is to understand what the taboo was meant to teach. It was meant to protect identity. It was meant to create boundaries. It was meant to remind people that belonging comes with responsibility. There are also regional variations within this totem. The Dube branch is strongly connected to Ndebele and Nguni language traditions. The name is related to Idube, the zebra. In Ndebele praise traditions, names such as Oidube and Magaduzela carry pride, rhythm, and public identity. The Mbizi and Tembo branches are found in Shona contexts. Names such as Samaita, Majimbakupa, Okapiwa, Manjenjenje, and Magazine Mukaka may appear in praise traditions and family histories. There are also Kalanga and Venda-related connections, including forms such as Ndube in some communities. This reminds us that totems cross borders, they cross languages, they survive movement. The pronunciation may change, the praise names may shift, but the memory remains. Historically, totems had an important social function. They helped people identify clans. They preserved oral history. They showed who belonged to which lineage. They helped prevent incest by warning people against marrying those considered close through totemic blood. They gave families language for respect, gratitude, ceremony, and conflict resolution. In the past, when much history was not written down, totems worked like living archives. They were carried in the mouth, at weddings, at funerals, at introductions, at family meetings, at ceremonies, at moments when people needed to remember who they are. When someone asked, "What is your totem?" they were not only asking for a label, they were asking, "Who are your people? Where do they come from? What name do your ancestors answer to? Who you must not marry? What behavior is expected of you?" That is why the question matters. The Dube Mbizi and Tembo Totem is still relevant today. Many people now live in cities or outside Zimbabwe. Some young people know their surnames, but not their praise names. Some know they are Dube, but they do not know Magaduzela. Some know they are Tembo, but they do not know Majimbakupa. Some have heard Samaita, but do not know how it connects to the family story. This is not a reason for shame. It is a reason to ask. Ask parents, ask grandmothers, ask aunties, ask uncles. Record their voices, write the names, learn the meanings. Because when an elder dies, it is not only a person who is buried. Sometimes an entire library goes with them. A podcast can help. Yeah, like this, a podcast can help keep that library open. A family recording can help keep that library open. A wedding speech can help keep that library open. Even one child asking, "What does our totem mean?" can open the door again. So, what does the Dube Mbizi and Tembo Totem teach us? It teaches that identity can be beautiful without being shallow. It teaches that different does not have to become division. It teaches that a family can carry many stripes and still move as one. It teaches diplomacy. It teaches restraint. It teaches grace. It teaches that knowing your path does not mean rejecting modern life. It means walking into modern life with memory. The zebra does become confused because the bush is wide. It knows its path. And so the children of Dube, to the children of Mbizi, to the children of Tembo, to Samaita, to Dube, to Madube, to Oidube, to Magaduzela, to Majumbakupa, to Manjenjenji, to Mageza. May you carry your stripes with dignity. May you bring peace where there is conflict. May you remember that beauty is not only seen, it is lived. And may you never forget the path. Mbizi, the zebra, is not confused. It knows its way.